Hey guys, it's Jo. Contouring never has been easy for me. It took me about 3 years before I ever came anywhere close to understanding it and applying it to my face in a way that actually looked normal. So I thought I would bring you guys a really easy tutorial for people who really are having a hard time like myself. Now here are some tips to make this tutorial work for you. Tip number 1. Don't apply concealer to the entire face. What I see in a lot of Pinterest pins and other YouTube videos that they have concealer all over the face. You know, they have the dark and then they have the light, but they completely cover the entire surface area of the face, and that's just too much. Rule number 2. Take your time. Contouring is an art, and it's something that has been used by skilled makeup artists for years and years and years. Kim Kardashian's makeup artist did not invent this just spur of the moment when she sat in the makeup artist chair for the first time. Be patient with yourself. If you don't get it right the first time, that's okay. That's why they invented makeup remover wipes. Rule number 3, don't overdo it. I see this so often where ladies will completely kind of ignore the forehead a little bit because they like their forehead, and then they like their cheekbones, but then their jaw has a shade maybe 4 times darker than their skin tone, and it's obvious they just applied so much there. Now it's blended out completely, but it's still obvious there's a lot of product there because she really hates her double chin. Don't do this. On that note, rule number 4, use the right shade. Always use a shade 2 shades darker and lighter than your skin tone. And preferably use a shade that's the same color temperature as your skin tone. I'm not gonna lie, this one is a little bit too orange for me, but it's all I have at the moment, so it's what I'm using for the tutorial. But they're about the right shade as far as darkness and lightness. Rule number 5, we are going to bake today, so don't use white powder. Now I see a lot of YouTubers doing this where they take a very white powder and they'll use it to bake their highlight. Even if you're very pale, nobody is 100% Snow White. That's just not natural. Even if you're dead, you're going to have a healthy little tinge of gray. See what I mean? Nobody's Snow White. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't look good in photos. It doesn't look good in real life unless you blend and blend and blend and blend and blend and spend forever blending. And it tends to be a little bit harder to blend. Now that we've gone over our rules, let's get started. Okay, so I've already primed my face, and right now I'm using my fingers to determine where the hollows of my cheeks are, and I'm just going to highlight first rather than contouring first, and I'm going to highlight my cheekbone and my lower jawbone, and then I'm going to use my flat-headed foundation brush to blend the bottom stripe downwards and the top stripe upwards. And I'm only going to highlight the top of my lower jawbone, not all the way down to the very bottom of it. I'm also going to apply the highlighter on the ridges right above my upper lip, and I'm going to blend them outwards. I'm trying to avoid the area right in the center above my upper lip. And I'm going to use my fingers with this part. You can use any tool that you want, but I find that this part is much easier with fingers. I'm also going to highlight my chin, and I'm going to press that into the skin with the stippling brush just in up and down motions, and once I have it completely pressed into the skin, I will just blend it out. For the nose, I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 very thin lines on either side of the bridge of my nose, and I'm using the wand as a guide as to how far apart the lines should be. They should be very close together. Then I'm just going to stipple that in with the stippling brush, just in up and down motions. Then I'm going to use the highlight and draw a very thin line down the bridge of my nose, and I'm going to use the brush in just up and down motions, just pushing it into the skin. If you swirl it at this point, the colors are going to get muddy, so try to avoid swirling and just pat. I'm also going to contour right beneath the center of my lower lip. That's going to create the illusion of a shadow beneath my lower lip, and it's going to make my lips look a little bit bigger. And I'm going to blend that with up and down motions of the stippling brush as well. Since my head is a little bit large in proportion to the rest of my face, I'm going to use a very generous amount of this on my forehead, and I'm going to blend it first upwards towards the hairline, and then whatever's left is going to be blended downwards. I'm also going to contour my temples right above my cheekbones. That's going to help make the cheekbones look even more sharp. Now I'm going to take that contour shade and I'm going to color in the area between the highlight spots that we made earlier. And that makes it a little bit easier. And I'm going to use a stippling brush to press it in, but I'm going to also try to blend it upwards and avoid blending it downwards. When you contour your jawbone, especially if you have a double chin, you want to make sure that your contour comes just a little bit higher than your actual jawbone does. That way you are actually shaving inches off of your jawbone. And then you just blend that downwards with swirling motions of the stippling brush. Then I'm going to take that contour shade and I'm going to make a teensy little line above my upper lip between those two ridges, and I'm going to blend that up and down with my fingers. And that's going to help accentuate the shape of my lips. Then I'm going to take the highlight color and make a very thin line right above my lip, just beneath the area where I put the dark shading just now. And I'm going to blend that part in with my fingers as well. Then I'm going to take this BB cream and I'm going to use it on all the areas of my face that don't have any product on them yet. And I'm also going to use it to cover over any mistakes I may have made along the way. Then I'm going to use my stippling brush and I'm going to blend the BB cream in with swirling motions. Then I'm going to use a highlighter powder that matches the same shade as the highlighter concealer that I used, and I'm going to bake my face. Now, if you're not sure what baking means, basically that means you're going to go over the areas that you already highlighted with a ton of powder. Like, there's going to be a lot. And you're going to let all that powder sit on your face for about 10 to 15 minutes while you go do something else, and then when it's sat on your face for that long, you come back and you brush whatever's left off, and that helps your highlights stand out even more than it would without the baking process. Then I'm going to use a taupe brown color and I'm going to apply that in the areas where I contoured. And I'm going to use a smaller brush for my nose just so that it doesn't get all over my face. And I'm using a very cool toned brown that's going to help counteract the orangeness from the concealer. For my cheek contour, I like to use a contour brush just because it gives me a little bit more control over where the contour powder goes, and it's a little bit more dense. I guess the bristles are closer together, and that makes the blending process a little bit faster. Now my highlighter powder has been sitting on my face for about 10 minutes now, so I'm going to go ahead and brush that off with the stippling brush. And I'm just going to be using swirling motions to brush that off. That's also going to help blend out any mistakes there may be. You can leave yours on longer if you want, it's up to you, but I don't like to leave it on too long just because it feels kind of weird on my skin. To put a little bit of the color back in my face, I'm just going to apply a very light layer of my favorite blush. and I'm going to apply it with a contouring brush and then blend it out with my stippling brush. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I really hope this was helpful for you. Big shout out to you, Vicky. Girl, you know who you are. Thank you for inspiring me to make this video, and I hope you all liked it. Alright, take care everybody. Bye!